Well, good morning once again, everybody, and thank you for being here. We are honored to have two well-respected dealers and more respected individuals in our business up on the stage today to help us put the practical into the use of dealer analytics. So I probably don't need to introduce either of them, but I will. To my left is Dutch Jones. He's the Executive Vice President of Sales at the Supply Room. And to my right is Chip Pike is the Vice President of Sales and Finance from Twist, right here in the Twin Cities. And they're going to help us understand a little bit of what Stephanie presented to us earlier and put it into that practical use. And so, by the way, if I dive into my phone, it's because that's where my notes are, so don't think I'm checking my text messages. So what I'll do is I'll open this up with a question for both gentlemen and talk about really the uses, how are they using, in this case, both Accelerate in their day-to-day business. And Dutch, I'll probably have you kick it off.
Sure. So, I mean, the power of analytics and having this data to be able to be pulled on a daily basis, to me, is pretty invaluable. As opposed to sending emails out and waiting for IT to get you reporting back, I'm quickly and efficiently able to pull reports on customers. I can pull it based on sales rep. I can pull manufacturer data and really get an understanding of what's going on in our business. Now, you need that analytics, and you need a lot of it in order to make those assumptions and find where those opportunities are. But just having that power to pull the numbers immediately is awesome for us.
Chip, can you add to that?
We use it at Twist from the sales reps all the way up to top management. The sales reps all have it. The best ones use it all the time. The not so good ones, as we talked about, we work on managing them out of our business over time. The sales reps, they go to the easy things. They look at gross profit dollars and margin and things that are really important. The better ones look at things that are what Stephanie was talking about, not only what they're buying, but what their customers aren't buying. As we move up customer service, we use it to look at our inside people and look who's putting in orders and who's not. Are they efficient? Aren't they efficient? Do we need to coach them on certain things? In marketing, I talk about our daughter, Elizabeth, who came from General Mills and embedded within Walmart. And, she cuts through the chase really quickly, where I might read 30 years of experience into things, and she works on campaigns, bumping up price programs, a considerable amount of what ifs. Sales management, they look at it and they're looking at what's trending, what somebody said they were going to do. Did they do it? Did they not do it? And then management, we look at it from a high-level standpoint of where we should buy products. What are some of the back-end products rebates and incentives and marketing allowances that will help us, maximize our profit dollars. We know that we can increase our business only two ways. We can either go get new customers, and we want our reps to go get new customers. Super, super important. Or we can get inside our existing customers and get more spend dollars. So that's what we do.
So I'll stick with you on the second question. How often are you reviewing data?
It depends on who you talk to. Sales reps, and in the admin, we watch it. And I've had to call people out. I can see how often they're on it. And I'll see somebody, you haven't been on Accelerate for 6 days? Were you on vacation? No. Well, how are you planning your day? What are you working on? The best sales reps use it, all day long. They use it before they go out to a customer because they've got it on their phones, and they can just, again, review certain things. And the best ones, make sure they make their notes into it. The people in sales managers are using it all day, marketing all day. Top management, uses it, part of the day. They're doing other things. But most of the company that are using it correctly, it's our most valuable tool that we have.
Dutch? How often?
So I think Stephanie showed you guys some business reviews. So just to touch on that a little bit, I mean, we do business reviews with our customers quarterly, at least the significant ones. You need data to analyze data, so reviewing it every day or every week with these people won't show you exactly what's happening. So quarterly is, generally speaking, the average that we do to sit in front of them, and then while we're sitting down there and bringing them these reports, it brings value to our organization, and then also gives us the opportunity to look at product segments we're missing, as well as any divisions that we're looking for. I mean, everybody's trying to grow their janitorial business and coffee and break room business and the latter. And doing those business reviews quarterly allow you to sit down and find those holes and those opportunities within your current customer base. I mean, we all can sit up here and say we love to bring on new customers, and that's just the hardest thing in the world to do from a reality standpoint. Growing within our current segment is the only way organically to grow, significantly for the most part.
So, business reviews withstanding, what kind of data are you looking for on a regular basis as it relates to either your account base or your rep base?
So, I mean, Chip touched on the margin management piece. So, like on a more regular basis, we're reviewing contracts and pricing contract side to help in that margin management field, because it's pretty easy to pull up, X contract and see where it's trending up or down, negative, positive, and then get slight margin lift from that. So on a daily basis, that margin management piece is strong. And then from a sales rep perspective, I mean, usually they use it to look at it and see what's underwater and then call us and figure out why on an order by order basis, which is pretty annoying, but that's sales reps of today. But they log on and they look at their customer base, they follow up, and we've got a little bit of an inside team as well. They follow up on orders placed, large orders placed, figure out what they're buying, and then figure out from that what else they could add on to that order. I mean, the thing that people talk about these days is sit-to-stand desks and then adding the pad under the stabilizer under it. So they're able to capture that data and say this person bought 10 sit-to-stand desks, but they didn't buy their stuff that they need to stand on. So that sales rep would then follow up immediately with that customer and start making calls and selling more to them without really having to do anything.
So, can you elaborate on that? So what are you reviewing, and beyond the report or even maybe the GP?
So everybody, the whole company uses it on a regular basis. Over the weekend, Elizabeth and myself go through it, and we call it teeing it up for everybody. And we send everybody, a weekly, monthly, what's going on, both in the number of orders that have been placed, the gross profit dollars that have been placed, and then we flip another report to them that shows all the customers that have not bought in 31 days. I believe strongly that anybody who has not bought in 31 days is not a customer. We've had a lot of discussions about, they only buy every 5 weeks. Well, the trend knows that, and we'll figure that out, but 90% of the customers don't do that. And then the last thing that we send them is we review their contracts and look at bump it up and margin, what needs to be adjusted. We ask them first, and then we do what needs to be done. We try to involve them, but that's every weekend.
Got it. Dutch, you said something that I hope triggered some things out in the audience a second ago. You talked about a sit-stand desk and we'll call them accessories that go along with that sale, and that you actually look at that and then see if you were able to capture the rest of those sales. I think everybody in this room would be very interested to see how you deploy kind of beyond the data once you figure that out.
So, I mean, a lot of the emphasis is put on the sales reps to continue that. However, we've got an inside model where we've got people that call from a marketing perspective to follow up, whether we're using Constant Contact to ping them or whatever. And it's not like just a one-time thing because they bought it, like they might have already bought it. So you continuously hit your customers with this information. And while you might not pick up that accessory at that time, it's the brand awareness and it's also the product awareness in there to sell them the other things that'll continue to grow within that customer.
Excellent. Chip, are you able to look at data like that? Like capture the same kind of information?
Absolutely.
Great.
And it is amazing. You know, you look at this information, and years past, you kind of had a feeling, you had a, you thought. But it's amazing when we start looking at that add-on, how many customers, we sell a lot of paper, but it is amazing how many customers we don't sell ink to. Those types of things, selling a file cabinet and not selling the hanging file folders that go in it. There's just a ton of examples where this really puts it at your fingertip to make sure that you can then take that data and create a plan to execute.
So this is for both of you. So based on your findings and what you have the ability to look at and analyze, have you deployed certain marketing campaigns based on, and I'd ask you actually, I'm going to give a little caveat here. I'd actually ask you not to talk about the adjacencies. And I'm talking about pure office products because generally everybody in this room is pure office products. Have you been able to see a trend and then build a marketing campaign, whether the trend's up or down, build a marketing campaign to boost sales in a particular category based on your analytics? Dutch?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest one that we like to use is just the trends on, what's happening during the year and then build the marketing calendar based around that. So when kids are going back to school, when calendars are selling, when those kind of things happen, you can see the trends in the AOP data to figure out how to then blast your customers with that information in order to just make sure you're capturing that same incremental sales and growing it. We also do it conversely when we see it's low times and we need to start pinging people. We use it from that perspective as well.
Excellent. Chip?
We had an example that just reared itself over the last month. Minneapolis, or the state of Minnesota, is very eco-conscious, more than most states, probably one of the 5 in the country. And in Minneapolis, there's a law, or that's going to be starting to be enforced. And that law means that you've got to, if you're over a certain amount of product, you've got to compost. So we've got a great rep group in Midwest Rep, and they've got a great... Yeah, that was a group of 1 clapping. Including your manufacturers. None of them were clapping. And there's a great manufacturer, Eco Products, that is very progressive. And in that, we've been really fortunate because we first went to our data and said, okay, pull out every product that is anyway eco-friendly, because that's the low-hanging fruit. And we're going to find those customers, and we're going to present this to them. Secondly, we said, what are the manufacturers we're selling bags to? That's going to be the next group of customers that we're going to talk to. Then we said, okay, find all the restaurants that we sell. And, again, we don't sell them all their bags. So it pulled them, and that's the next group of customers that we're going to sell. Then we've got, with that, all this data, and then Wendy and Elizabeth, are working on the execution of the plan, whether it be, email blasts, whether it's product sampling, et cetera, to go out so that, it follows all the way through And, we don't have the numbers yet, but I was told 2 days ago that we found a little customer that decided that they wanted 4 skids of that particular product. And, I just did some quick math, and, it's like $6,000, that we did not have before.
I'm going to jump in on that topic in terms of what we'll call green product. 30 years ago, green product was a nice to have. And in those 5 to 10 states Chip's alluding to, those aren't nice to have anymore. Those are have to have. So if you have products in your product line that are either recycled or compostable, I would have a strong emphasis, again, not telling you your business, but I'd have a strong emphasis in those states because me being on the West Coast, I can't do business without products like that.
What was also nice, as a caveat, is we could take that data then, because in the Chicagoland we've got a facility, they're not so much compostable kind of people. Minnesota, for sure, so we can cut that data, and again, we're not sending something out that nobody cares about to Chicago. It focuses in an area.
That's a great point, because you both cover kind of a vast area, so there might be some regional differences, even in their own businesses. So here's the $64,000 question. One of the professionals in this room comes to you each and says, we got an idea. We want to partner with you on a vertical marketing campaign. We want you to use your data and help us sell these widgets. What's your answer?
Sure. So we were talking earlier, and what we need from y'all is to come to us with more specific targeted opportunities. What I hate is when manufacturers come to us and say, give me your top 10 customers and let me hope to sell to them. I can't stand that. So we've got the ability to really get down into the data and show you where these opportunities are. We need your help to tell us what the best customers for your products are, whether it's segmented or otherwise, so that we can find them for you, because we've got them. We just might not know it, because our top 10 customers might not have any relevancy for what you're trying to sell. So we just need y'all to come to us with those specifics so that we can help you sell more.
Chip?
Totally agree. I go back to my daughter, and one of the things I guess I'd say to everybody is we need younger people in this industry. And it is critical to let them have certain parts of the reign to do that. She told me, Dad, you're just too damn nice to the manufacturers and manufacturer reps, and don't let them come in.
Wait, and we're not?
Wait a second.
Don't
Wait.
She's like, don't take a meeting with them unless there's a purpose, and make sure they email you the purpose before they come in. You can do your niceties at the bar, and I do enjoy that. But let's win. And she constantly, let's win. And so when you do come to us, have a more prepared, idea than, hey, I want to sell more of our product. I think that if you do that, we'll open up more. It used to be when it was whoever has the gold makes the rules. Right now, for a period of time, the person with the data gets to make some of the rules. And so, on our side, it would be, come to us with a more detailed opportunity and plan of execution.
Excellent. So as a secondary question to that $64,000 question, and I'd ask you not to name names, but if you can throw a number out, how many manufacturers have, and their reps, by the way, have brought you these types of opportunities using your data to build a vertical plan?
Just like our sales reps within our organization, the good ones have and the bad ones haven't. So you should know out there who the good ones are, and the good ones are good. And then the other ones come at us with the same old stuff, and that's the ones that maybe us young people aren't so nice to and blow off, as Chip alluded to. but that's generally speaking. The top 20 of you guys are probably your best still.
You mean if I don't bring a box of donuts, I can't have a sales meeting?
Yeah.
I was just checking.
Yeah.
I don't know if I need to cover that area for our factory. Brian. How many? And you don't have to name a number.
No,
but
no.
Is it the same?
A handful.
Okay.
And the ones that have, they're good. They come with programs that they've thought through it. Manufacturers have so many marketing assets available. Please make them available to us in an easy fashion. We don't want to have to recreate things that you already have. Come to us in a timely fashion. Come to us with, a little bit more than just the real thin leftovers. As independent dealers, we need, a little bit more of the piece of the pie to execute what we need to do because it's expensive.
I'm going to break from the accelerate conversation for 1 second because Chip brought up a point. So many of the manufacturers have spent crazy amounts of money building sites for you to go get marketing materials. Does that work?
No, absolutely it doesn't. I mean, it could if we only had one, but I think everybody in this room, probably has 20 passwords. And, for us to remember another 50 passwords and, to go snag stuff that we want, it's a pain. Tee it up, make it easier.
So, I hate doing this, but to have Steve Glass, it does. It hurts every time I have to say it. To have Steve Glass actually come in and bring you a much more concise, here's the assets, here's the content, he's a pro at content, here's everything. You already have the content in your system, we just want to do it, package it this way, is
right. I mean,
it's good for you.
It's real good for us.
Okay.
I mean, everything from, not just banners, but, it's amazing in the print that you guys do, what we can take out and use it for blog posts, Twitter posts. I mean, it is amazing. So give us that information so that we can, use it.
Do you kind of feel the same way in terms of the interface with the marketing tools?
I would like to defer to my wife, but who's our director of marketing. But I'd probably say yes. We're fortunate enough to be large enough to have one person dedicating to those marketing efforts, and it takes a body. I mean, it takes somebody that's solely focused on that. If Chip's trying to do it and his daughter's trying to do it and everything else, that's where the complexity comes in. We've got one person that pulls down that data from each of you guys. So we're kind of lucky on that front, but it is cumbersome.
So I will say as a rep, I would probably echo the sentiments from each of my dealers, but it doesn't mean that the tools aren't useful, because I think it's critically important that their reps, your manufacturer's reps, have the ability to pull that data and bring these campaigns to the marketers or to the owners to push this off. So I'm gonna wrap this portion of this up now, because I know you have questions. I know Steve Glass probably has a question, so I'll probably go to him. So please, if you can, Susan's gonna run around with the mic. I think Susan, Bonnie has a.
You can talk loud enough.
Go ahead, Bonnie. Let us have it.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're getting the mic.
I do love to have a microphone. So the first question, obviously you guys are the super users. So looking at someone that maybe feels overwhelmed by looking at all of the things that you can get out of it, what would you recommend to a dealer be like those top 3 things that you start with, kind of to baby step into to get to the point where you guys are?
Dutch, why don't you take that one first?
Yeah, it's a good question because it is overwhelming, to be honest with you. I mean, when you first look at it, there's so much there it can kind of paralyze you, and it does when you first send it out to your sales force and you try to deploy it. They kind of just look at the GP and move on kind of thing because it's a lot. So what we do is to your point, you pick like 3 targeted reports from one of the Flex Reports fields and say, these are the ones you're gonna work until you get comfortable with it. I mean, that, and then just say, hey, the only way to learn this is to play with it over the weekend and play with it at nights and stuff. That's really the only way they're gonna get comfortable with it. But once they are, and once they're hooked, even the old dogs within our organizations are taken to this thing and get it and can pull some serious data.
Chip?
Sales reps, they've got their dashboard, each day to look at the drop down, what the, last business day, gave them, customers who have bought, gross margin. That's the baby step side of it, and you're exactly right. Until they can start, showing that they're ready for a little bit more, then you can start looking at accounts profitability, contracts, et cetera.
So kind of a follow-up question to that would be, Stephanie, I know you said you're reaching out to the dealers a lot to making, drive awareness with this. Do you have any kind of advisory groups, sort of like the 2 gentlemen up here, that sort of I'm hearing it from my peers? It's great that it's coming from you, but we know that all of the independent dealers, well, we want to stick together, and how do you help each other grow? And, would it help if I had a couple peers coaching me, just helping me baby step into this? I don't know.
One of the things I'd like to do next quarter, we haven't done for a couple of years, is to do a peer-to-peer webinar. Now, that means we got to try to get people to join us. I can't make them, but this is the proof out there. We can do just something similar to what we've done here right now. And we did it before, and it was effective. I went through that.
I don't want something to get lost here. Don't underestimate the ability of the dealers to actually use the system. There are a lot of good dealers using this every day. So, although we can look at and I'm not suggesting you were doing this, Vonnie, but we can look at the glass half empty. There's still a lot of dealers out there that are doing this. So let's start with the ones we know we can work with today and help build our business together. Questions? Barry?
Chip, just question, and I may have misunderstood, but just back to the content, the source of information. So historically, we have heard, and perhaps we heard incorrectly, that the dealers who are responsible for getting information, content, web banners, et cetera, I may work flex hours, I may work weekends, I work an odd schedule. I want access 24/7 when you folks may not be working. So I know this room has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in portals. Did I misunderstand, or are you saying that isn't your preferred vehicle to receive or get information?
I'll let Wendy answer that.
I can answer that. Because I'm the one that does that. They remind me, because I really don't take a microphone. Top loud. Every one of you has a portal, and so we do go out there. We spend hours every month looking at what do you have new, what do you have going on, what is your marketing, what is your Facebook page, what's your Instagram, so we can kind of take some of that information, because those are the fun things that we want to put out there. But the stuff like 3M has a portal, Smead has a portal, to remember all those logins and to go to those is cumbersome and takes a lot of time. I've been a proponent, and I'm going to tell all of you because I've never been at this, if there was like a BSA website and there was a link in that website to all of the different manufacturers and their marketing, and I only had to go one place to then get all those links, that would make my life way easier. I've suggested it to SP Richards, put that on their marketing. Another suggestion I would have for all of you, get your marketing out there as fast as possible. We work a couple months in advance trying to put together everything. SP Richards gets us, I just got September marketing just this morning, an email. So again, that's kind of late and behind the fact. So work with your dealers to get marketing or get them information where they can go ahead of time, because I know you all have done it and spent so much money on it
let us use it and let's all, get a return on your investment.
Thanks, Wendy. My second question is, how often can this tool either be used or is used as a sourcing tool? In other words, helps you determine what brands you're going to use, apply, either in a bid process or just as a current business review. Do you look at national brand? Do you look at secondary brand, entry-level brand, control brands? Is that a tool that you use?
Yeah, so we run usage reports by manufacturer prefix to find that stuff, and I mean, I run it by UNV and sub Avery as much as I can, so.
How's that? Is that okay?
Perfect answer, Doug.
Yep. So you drill it down by manufacturer to figure out where both those brands are and what customers value what. I mean, the ones that are buying OEM brand value your brand, and that's what we're going to sell them. You know what I mean? So we find those other ones, and then we figure out how to get to the price point necessary to then sell OEM brands, because that's what we're here to support.
We look at profitability on a semi-regular basis or ad hoc, depending. And we can, by customer, look at not just what they're buying on contract, but what they're buying overall, and create a whole series of what ifs. Give us any substitute to it, and it will show us then the margin improvements, or where we can move a customer to, again, first take care of the customer. That's the most important thing. But then, it's a pretty important thing for us to, make money. And so we, look at that on a regular basis too.
Any more questions? Both gentlemen will be here after this. I think you're joining us for lunch, correct?
Correct.
Yep, I know you are. So please, if you have any further questions, don't hesitate. Wendy, we'll probably take that as an action item. So I really appreciate the suggestion. I'd like to thank both Chip and Dutch for their time. I think it was very informative. It's the beginning. It's the start. And again, the challenge goes out to everybody in the audience. This is your time to come to them and dealers like them with great suggestions to help build your brand in their organizations. So again, to both of them, thank you very much, and thanks for the time.